Good evening. Welcome to the Cortez City Council regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, July 13th, 2021, and it's 7:30 p.m. If you stand, we'll recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first item on the agenda is our consent agenda. The listing under consent agenda is a group of items to be acted on with a single vote and motion. This agenda is designed to expedite the handling of limited routine matters by City Council. The mayor will ask if a citizen or council member wishes to have any specific item removed from the consent agenda for discussion. Either the public or a council member may request that an item be removed from the consent agenda at that time, prior to council's vote. Item A, approval of the work session and regular meeting minutes of June 22nd, 2021. B, approval of the expenditure vouchers of July 13th, 2021. C, approval of a renewal tavern liquor license for A&S LLC DBA Angels End Zone, located at 309 North Broadway, Cortez. D, approval of renewal liquor store license for 718 Cortez Incorporated, DBA Liquid Assets, located at 718 East Main Street, Cortez. E, approval of a renewal hotel and restaurant liquor license for Once Upon LLC, DBA Once Upon a Sandwich, located at 7 West Main Street, Cortez. F, approval of a renewal retail marijuana store for Green Kiwi 4, LLC, DBA Live Well, located at 1819 East Main Street, Cortez.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Medina.
Aye.
Yazzie.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Dobry.
Aye.
Kiefhoffer.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. The next item is citizen participation. 6 citizens will be allowed time to address council, and remaining public comments will be allotted under agenda item number 9. No member of the public shall comment more than once at any meeting, or shall any person be seated time of another person. Are there any people wishing to address the council? Public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to presentations. I have before me a proclamation. It's the proclamation for the National Day of the Cowboy. This is a proclamation, a holiday that's been in effect nationwide since 2005, and it's normally the 4th Saturday in July. And I want to read this proclamation. Proclamation for the National Day of the Cowboy. Whereas Colorado pioneering men and women known as cowboys helped establish America's frontiers, and whereas the cowboy archetype transcends gender, generations, ethnicity, geographic boundaries, and political affiliations, and whereas the cowboy embodies honesty, integrity, courage, compassion, and determination, and whereas the cowboy is an excellent steward of the land, its resources, and its creatures, and whereas the core values expressed within the Cowboy Code of Conduct continue to inspire the pursuit of the highest caliber of personal integrity, and whereas cowboy and ranching traditions have been part of the American landscape and culture since 1523, and today's cowboys and cowgirls continue to strive to preserve and perpetuate this unique element of America's heritage. And whereas annual attendance at rodeos exceeds 300,000 30 million fans worldwide. And whereas the cowboy and his horse are an essential figure in literature, art, film, poetry, photography, and music. And whereas the cowboy is a true American icon, occupying a central place in the public's imagination. Therefore, I, Michael J. Levy, Mayor of the City of Cortez, do hereby support July 24th, 2021 as National Day of the Cowboy, witnessed by this hand this 13th day of July 2021. So we honor the cowboy today. I want to remind you that the Montezuma County Fair is beginning soon. It starts on July, let's see, I have the date, July 23rd and goes to the 31st. And on July 24th, which is the Day of the Cowboy, the LJ Production Barrel Races will be held at the fairgrounds. And if you ever seen barrel races, you know what an exciting event that is. So I will give this copy to the city clerk, and we'll move on. Public hearings. Ordinance number 1289, Series 2021. Associate Planner Neva Connolly. Good evening, Neva.
And then I, Councilwoman Medina, need to recuse myself because my property is on here.
All right. Good evening, councilors. Okay. So this is the second reading of ordinance number 1289, Series 2021. As a little background, the city was certified as a certified local government in July of 2010. And part of that is significant because that means the city is now eligible to receive grants from the state, from the State Historic Preservation History Colorado. And so the city, through the Historic Preservation Board that we have, has applied for many of these grants, and they are usually, and we don't need to provide a match for those. And we've been able to receive these grants even throughout our financial auditing problems where the city hasn't been able to receive several state grants. So the city did receive a grant in 2021 for the inventory of 23 properties on south of First Street and along 2nd Street. The survey was awarded to Woods Canyon Archaeological Consultants, and the final results of the survey determined that 13 of these 23 properties were eligible for listing locally, 5 properties were possibly eligible for state register, and 1 property is eligible for listing on the National Register. And so these surveys provide property owners with all this information and at no cost to the property owners. After the surveys are complete, we send out letters to each of the homeowners letting them know the results of the survey. From this last survey, 3 of the eligible property owners have applied to the city for local listing, and that is what we're looking at today. So that those homeowners are at 21 East 2nd Street, 411 East 1st Street, and 123 South Market Street. And in your packets, I believe that the inventory forms are all on there. So at this point, council can approve the historic designation of the structures at 21 East 2nd, 411 East 1st, and 123 South Market. Council can approve the historic designation with changes they feel are needed as per the Land Use Code Section 6.19. Council can deny the application for historic designation, or council can table the requested historic designation if you feel further review is necessary. These properties and their applications were reviewed by the Historic Preservation Board during their June 3rd, 2021 meeting, and they were recommended to forward the applications to City Council for approval. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Really quick, Ms. Conley, is it accurate to say that there were 10 people whose properties were approved but chose not to go ahead forward with the historic designation?
Correct, they're eligible for local listing, but they chose not to.
And is it your sense that they maybe felt like it was a little bit too oppressive in terms of being able to modify their property in the future? Were there reasons given, or are they just lack of interest?
I believe it was lack of interest. The survey, the city and the historic board gave a public meeting for the results. This was during COVID. The public meeting was not well attended. It was via Zoom. But in general, less than half of all the 163 properties surveyed have applied. The city does have one of the least regulated criteria for listing and delisting. If people want to make changes on their home after they've been listed, they can talk to the Historic Preservation Board for more information, but we don't have design guidelines for that kind of stuff. And all they would have to do is request to be delisted if they do want to make changes that don't conform with keeping in with these standards listed on page 2 and 3 of the staff report. So.
Thank you very much.
Neva, if somebody that you guys had reached out to that declined initially changes their mind, do they have the opportunity to go and apply later?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and what would probably happen if it's been several years is that board members may drive by their house and see if the facade of their house matches what is in the inventory forms. And then they may go to a consultant, an archaeological historian, to a architectural historian, excuse me, to see if it still meets with the listing requirements. But yes, they can apply at any point.
Thank you.
So, yeah, actually the board is reaching out to some of the the eligible but not listed homeowners. We've got about 70 of them that we're going to be sending letters out at some point in the future to see if they've changed ownership and if the new owners may be interested in listing locally. So, yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Since this is a public hearing, are there any public comments? Any other questions from the council?
We have one
Oh,
comment.
go ahead. Go up to the podium, sir, and tell us your name and address and state your business.
I hate being tall. Justin Vasterling, 2527 Trinity Avenue. It's really just a question, what are I'm kind of naive, what are the benefits of being on the historical register? And I've had some experience with it in the past with owners of buildings and investors, and they were all very opposed to any type of listing, feeling it was super restrictive, as Mr. Kiefauer was questioning. I was just curious, like, what the benefits are of owners to be on that registry.
For a lot of the homeowners in this community, it's a matter of pride, but they can also be eligible for funding to restore their homes, keeping with the historical listing. So they're eligible for funds, basically. Yeah, and like I said, our local listing is we don't have design guidelines, so it's very non-restrictive. It's not like listing in Telluride or Boulder or any of those communities. So, and if they list through the state and through the feds, then the design criteria is up a little more. But most of our homes here are City of Cortez eligible only.
Is that funding, is that funding that they individually have to go and seek out, or do they have to request it through you, like, or through the Historic Preservation Board?
The board can assist with that, but it is up to the homeowners to pursue that.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 1289, Series 2021, on final reading, approving the inclusion of the structures located within the Cortez original town site to be included in the City of Cortez Register of Historic Structures, Sites, and Districts, specifically the structures at 21 East 2nd Street, 411 East 1st Street, and 123 South Market Street.
Second.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Thank you. Rachel, are you back? Okay, next item is under new business, is quotes for the NACE Certified Inspection Services on the water tank rehabilitation project. Director of Public Works, Phil Johnson. Good evening, Phil.
Honorable Mayor, members of City Council, good evening. As stated in the title, I'm bringing to you for your consideration 2 bids for the NACE Certified Inspection Services for our water tank rehabilitation projects for tanks 1 and 2. They are 2 million gallon storage tanks at the water treatment facility that we're getting recoded and rehabilitated inside and out. As we spoke about earlier in last meeting, that we did an electronic bid and received them electronically. We advertised in the local newspaper, as well as our contract engineering firm sent out emails to listed certified NACE inspection services to try and garner some more input. We received bids that closed at 2 p.m. on June 16, 2021 from Apex Inspection Services, LLC in Clifton, Colorado, in the amount of $44,800. KLM Engineering Incorporated from Woodbury, Minnesota, in the amount of $75,000. And we received a third bid that we rejected from S&S Coating Services, LLC, Broomfield, Colorado, because it did not meet the timestamp deadline of 2 p.m. We received it electronically at 2:17 p.m. Staff reviewed and submitted the submitted quotes and recommend that Apex Inspection and Consulting be hired to provide NACE certified inspections for the water tank rehabilitation project. They are very, very qualified and reputable company and can start immediately. Monies are included in the Water Capital Improvement Fund for this project. If council agrees with staff, council can make the motion to award the project to Apex Inspection and Consulting LLC in the amount of $44,800 for the inspection services for the 2021 water storage tanks 1 and 2 rehabilitation project.
Thank you, Phil. Are there any questions? Council, comments?
I don't have any.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to award the project to Apex Inspection and Consulting LLC in the amount of $44,800 for NACE inspection services for the 2021 water storage tanks number 1 and number 2 rehabilitation project.
Second.
Dobry,
Aye.
Kiefhoffer,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
Thank you.
Phil. Next item under new business is ordinance number 1290, Series 2021, Finance Director Kelly Koski. Good evening, Kelly. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, esteemed council members. I bring before you this evening ordinance number 1290, Series 2021, for first reading. This ordinance deals with the 2021 budget reset We discussed that in the work session earlier. When the 2021 budget was passed, there were several budget cuts that were made, and those were based on the feeling that the revenues for the city would actually decrease for a continued period of time. As we've moved forward through COVID, we've seen that that has not been the case, that we've actually had increasing revenues, and that has continued on a path for a period of over a year. Making projections forward into the end of 2021, we would have more than enough revenue to cover the requested budget items that we'd like to add back in. Does anybody have any questions?
No questions?
I don't have any.
No questions.
All right.
Thank you, Ollie.
Thank you very much.
Can I have a motion on this item, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 1290, Series 2021, to increase the, or to restore the budget to its previous level.
Second.
Councilman Dobry, would you include the public hearing date, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
And set a public hearing for July 27th, 2021.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rainey,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Kefauver,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item under new business is appointment of new board members for the Public Arts Advisory Committee. Council will consider appointing Ty Rogers, Samantha Combs, Skylee Lindsay, and David Ross to the Public Arts Advisory Committee. Are any of these candidates in council members, in council quarters? Okay. Okay, thank you. Would you like to introduce yourself? Okay. Okay, just go up to the podium there. Okay, or you can stay there. Yeah, okay.
Mayor, so are we deciding on the term length of these appointees?
Yeah, I think that's another item we need to discuss. The terms for the board members. The youth members serve a one-year term, and all other members shall be appointed as follows to the initial board appointments. 2 members for initial term of 3 years, 2 members for initial term of 2 years, and 2 members for initial term of 1 year. So we need to discuss the terms for these appointees.
Okay, I wrote down kind of what they said last time. So I had 1 year for Ty Rogers, 3 years for Samantha, 1 year for Skylee, and 2 years for David Ross.
Does that resonate with the 2 people that are here? Okay, does that sound familiar? Okay.
Okay. I'm in agreement with that. Yeah. You need to take a vote?
Okay, I'll attempt to make the motion then. Okay. I would like to make a motion appointing Ty Rogers for a 1-year term, Samantha Combs for a 3-year term, Skylee Lindsay for a 1-year term, and David Ross for a 2-year term to the Public Arts Advisory Committee.
Second.
Kefauver,
Aye.
Rainey,
Aye.
Lucero,
Aye.
Yazzie,
Aye.
Dobry,
Aye.
Medina,
Aye.
Levy.
Aye. Congratulations. Okay.
Yeah, there's
Next item, citizen participation. Are there any citizens wishing to make a comment this evening? Seeing none, we'll continue on. Other items of business. Council will adjourn to executive session for a conference with the city attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions under CRS Section 24-6-4024B. Discussion will be held regarding the city manager's contract. We will adjourn this meeting for the executive session and we will return after we finish. Hey, can I have your attention? The time is now 8:58, and the executive session has been concluded. Participants in the executive session were Rachel Medina, Orly Lucero, Arlena Yazzie, Matt Kiefhofer, Robert Dobry, David Rainey, Drew Sanders, Mike Green, and myself, Michael J. Levy. For the record, if any person who participated in the executive session believes that at any substantial discussion of any matters not included in the motion to go into the executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the open meetings law, I would ask that you state your concern for the record. Seeing none, the next agenda item is, are there any city attorney reports? No, sir. Any city manager reports?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, community members. Drew Sanders here. City Manager Report for July 13, 2021. I promised, as normal, I'd give you 3 topics. I'm going to talk about 4 this evening. The first one is our drought planning and water carriage agreement. We attended the Montezuma Valley Irrigation, or MVI, board meeting today with our water attorney. Our city attorney was there, and our public works director was there also. And we're working on what's called a water conveyance agreement. And from this meeting, an agreement was made to move forward with our negotiations to start delivering our 4.2 CFS senior ditch rights to both the golf course and Park DeVita. As part of the city is temporarily, but as part of this, the city will be giving up temporarily anyway 177 irrigation water rights. And by the way, this doesn't take place till next year. But by us doing that, because our other water will be in the ditch, that will open those up to be used by other users in the agricultural community. Number 2, the library director process. This coming Thursday, we are testing for a new library director. And as part of the process, there will be a community meeting. It'll be a meet and greet at the library between 1 and 2:30 p.m. Where we'll be requesting community input. We're inviting the community to come. We're actually inviting all of you to come as well. There will be light refreshments, but we're just hoping to get a good turnout and get those candidates exposed to as many community members as possible. Council, and I wanted to point out to you that under the city charter, we're required to have 5-year capital plans on hand. We have now successfully accomplished that. Those are in hand. We will be refining those as part of the budget process. But in the meantime, we have those in hand. The relevant staff members will be receiving adequate training in August on how to operate the new budgeting software. And then, our goal is to hold the public hearing and pass the budget for fiscal year 22 by the second council meeting in October. And then the 4th item, and this is an ongoing process, but the 2017 delinquent audit out there, our financial audit for the city, that is done. We are in the final phases of it. It is completed. It's with the partners at the CPA firm, and then that will likely be published as early as next week. As part of that, though, I'd like to point out that we are approximately 75% of the way through the fiscal year 2018 audit, and we're very pleased with the progress that we're making on this, and we should actually start accelerating at this point. Thank you, Mayor and Council. That's all I have.
Thank you, Drew. Are there any city council committee reports?
I just had a question for Drew.
Okay, go ahead.
Quick. City manager, how is the city council turnout for the department head meetings? Do we need to talk about that openly so we can take turns going, or make sure that people are going?
Yes, absolutely. That is something that since it is not a published meeting, no more than 2 of you can attend at a time. Mayor Levy has been a very regular attendee. I know that Councilmember Dobry had mentioned either this coming week or the following he would like to go. So I would encourage the council members for you to talk, or that can come through my office if you like, and we can schedule that. But I think if you were to speak to the mayor, he would tell you that they are very rewarding and enlightening.
Okay. Thank you.
You can-
And also, Mayor, if I can add to that, every other week, so once every other 2 weeks, there's actually a leadership segment that's being presented by a different director. So that would be also something to look forward to.
Okay, thank you. Are there any city council?
I have a report, Mayor.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, was it 2 Saturdays ago? One Saturday ago. July 3rd, myself, Mayor Levy, Councilmember Dobry, and Councilmember Rainey attended the opioid settlement town hall discussion with the Attorney General, and that was over at Park DeVita. And I want to give kudos to City Manager Sanders for helping to arrange for that space for us to convene there. A kudos from County Administrator as well. And that discussion just really revolved around the opioid settlements that we are looking to try to bring in as a region. He opened it up for discussion to community members who had lived experience and were able to provide input as well around substance use, specifically with the opioid, around opioids. And we had a lot of community leaders there as well. And it was a really good conversation. And one thing of note is, at least for this specific settlement that we're focusing on right now, there's a certain capacity, like a certain number of municipalities, certain number of governments that have to be on board in order to reach to be able to receive a certain percentage of that settlement funding. So there's like I believe it was like a 70% cap and then a 90% cap in terms of like the number of municipalities and governments that were applying to receive on board to receive this funding. And who feel free to chime in if I'm not explaining it very well. But it's basically like these companies don't want individual governments to come back and try to take on their own settlement claim against those companies. But if you guys can explain it better, feel free to chime in, or if I missed anything.
You interpreted it pretty well.
Yeah, you're on the right track.
Okay, any other committee reports?
Yeah, on the 30th, I attended, and Councilmember Medina was also there, and Drew Sanders was also there, an economic development meeting with the county as well as other municipalities and utilities around basically kind of beginning to coordinate with each other more and work together. And I think as far as process goes, I think it's a really good, not quite first step, but it's a really good process to be working with the county as well as Dolores and Mancus and the utilities to work on economic development as a collective unit.
Any other committee reports?
Mr. Mayor, I will be attending the CREA meeting tomorrow, but I wanted to, what's that? Mesa Verde Country. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Mesa Verde Country. I don't know why I said CREA. Just got crossed there. But if you would like me to attend either or be a part of another nonprofit board or governmental agency or something along those lines, I'd be happy to do something else, and I could talk to Kelly Kirkpatrick about.
I'll take you up on that. We'll discuss.
Do you want to take on Parks and Rec Board?
Potentially.
We can talk later.
I do like to recreate, so yeah, that could work.
Anybody else? See, I attended the Southwest COG meeting online this afternoon. It was a special meeting. In attendance were Rachel Medina, Drew Sanders, and Rick Smith, I believe, was in the audience also. He was a participant. It's a special meeting, as I say, and it was RFI for Middle Mile Broadband Public-Private Partnership. And we put out responses for that partnership, and there was 8 responses from 8 different responders, vendors, and so we discussed them, and we're going to get more information, and we're going to score each vendor before we come to any decision on that. See, the next thing was we had the workshop special meeting earlier today. We had a thank you for the Montezuma County clerks for the work they did on city elections, and there's 3 members from the county clerks in presence, and we gave them public recognition. There's also a discussion on quotes for the NACE inspection RFQ, which was given by Public Works Director Phil Johnson, which is also on the regular agenda. And are there any other items? If not, I call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.